It's me, Vicky Marie. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in this crazy world we're living in. So here he is, Big Jake Haro. So this is the father of little Emmanuel Haro, who's just been arrested along with his stupid wife, Rebecca. I do feel that Jake is the main protagonist here, but having said that, Rebecca's allowed it all to happen. But yeah, Jake Haro, we're going to be talking about him. Big Jake, built like a man mountain, likes killing little tiny babies. So we're going to talk, that's what we're going to talk about last of all in this video. We're going to watch the arrest videos, going to hear the statement from the police and a few other people talking about this unbelievable case, because this man had already got history of hurting babies. And so although he's the one responsible, probably, and of course Rebecca is probably implicit in it, this is the authorities, the judicial system, the judge that allowed this man to go home to his family every night. They're all responsible for Emmanuel's death as well. And we have to say that Emmanuel is deceased because the police have arrested this couple for murder. So the police believe he's deceased. He's probably been deceased for quite a long time. Bless him. This poor little boy, just unbelievable that this could have been allowed to happen. But anyway, it was allowed to happen. So the point is now we can't bring little Emmanuel back, but what we can do, or what the police can do, the law enforcement can do, is get proper justice for this boy, and hopefully this time we'll get proper sentence. So we're going to be talking about that. That's the third thing we're going to be talking about. The first thing we're going to be talking about is something I'd not heard of before, but one of my chatters sent me the details about human remains that were found in a house in Lyham in the UK. And we're going to have a look at that case just to let you know what's happening so far. And sadly, again, these human remains that were found when reformers, I was going to say, that's the Spanish word, when the house was being remodeled or revamped, are thought to be children's remains as well. Now, we don't know, there could have been a burial site there. I mean, I don't know how old these bones are or anything like that, but I'm going to let you know about that. That is in Lytham, which is near Blackpool, I believe, in the UK. So we're going to look at that. That's what we'll be looking at first, actually. And then secondly, so 3 stories we're going to be looking at today. I don't know if you remember, we looked at the case. This was a very sad case in France, wasn't it? This couple were found deceased at their French farmhouse, rural house in France, in a little village there in France. And basically, at first, foul play, an intruder was suspected because this poor lady, she was found surrounded by, out in the garden as if she was running away from someone, surrounded by jewellery with severe trauma, head trauma. And her husband, Andrew, was found in the house, suspended from a radiator. And for anyone who thinks you can't delete yourself from a radiator, yes you can, 100% you can do that from anything. Anyway, I'm not going into gory details, but so there was an inquiry. No evidence of a third party was found, so in the end it was decided that this was a red room self-deletion. And we're going to be talking about that because the funeral is coming up for the man and this lady's son, who's a famous actor in Hollyoaks, and a couple of other things that we're going to look at. He has asked for friends not to go to the funeral of his stepfather because it basically has been established that Andrew, this was not a double red rum. This was a red rum followed by self-deletion. And he is responsible for the death of this poor guy's mother. And there she is. This picture, to me, this photo, it's just so sad, because there she is, probably feeling she was living the dream in France. And all the time she was living with the person that was going to kill her. So we're going to look at that. We're going to look at his last video when he was buying lottery tickets, where to me looks as stressed as anything. Though, you know, the woman who sold him the lottery tickets said he was, you know, acting normal. He didn't. Gosh, he looks. Anyway, we'll look at that. Maybe that's just a feeling that I got from him. I don't know if she was already deceased then. I felt like, but was he going to get the lottery tickets like as an alibi? Because I feel that initially he was intending to cover up this crime as an intruder crime. And then he found that he just couldn't do it. You know, it was too complicated, or maybe he had just couldn't live with himself, and he ended up deleting himself as well. But at the end of the day, he did kill his wife. And so don't blame her son for asking people, you know, friends and family, not to go to his funeral, because, you know, at the end of the day, he is a killer. So we're going to look at that. And that's the three things that we're going to look at in this video. So, yeah. First of all, I've got a bit of waffle as usual. I'm going to say my hellos. I'm going to say my thank yous. I'm going to give you a load of waffle, probably about one thing and another. So if you don't like the waffle, you're best to wait for this, because I will cut this video into 3 different videos of the 3 different cases without waffle. And if you don't like waffle, it's maybe better to wait for those if you want to watch them. If you like the waffle, then you can just talk amongst yourselves, go and make a cup of tea, get a sandwich, whatever you normally do when I'm waffling, or even listen to the waffle. Some people do like the waffle. So first of all, I want to say thank you to everyone. Thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing, particularly. Doing really well with subscribers. Please, please, please remember to subscribe. A lot of people don't remember to subscribe, and I understand that. I do it myself when I'm watching other people's videos. Sometimes it depends what you're watching on. It's, you know, some things it's just easy to just press subscribe while you're watching, but if you're watching on the TV or even on a computer, sometimes, you know, it's not as convenient as that to just press the button. But anyway, just, you don't have to subscribe in this moment, but please think about subscribing. It's completely free. It helps me out, and if you enjoy watching my channel, then please subscribe. What else? And like the video, of course, and even share the video. I want to say a special thank you, of course, to my members, the mainstay of my channel. Please think about becoming a member, because I want to say hello. I have 2 channels. I have the Spanish and English channel, and I have the Vicky Marie Chats channel. You could be watching on either of them, because I'm streaming live to both of them at the moment. If you want to become a member, oh, that reminds me, I've got some free memberships to give out on. I can only give free memberships out on the Spanish and English channel, because that was the first channel that I had, so that's my main channel, and that's the only place that YouTube lets me give out the free memberships. I'm going to do that in a moment, actually give out the free memberships on there. And it's a little bit, I think it's $3.99 a month on there to join, whereas it's $4.99 on the Vicky Marie Chats channel. Whichever one you join, you can join in the live chats on a Thursday. Just remember that, you know, you may not be able to see the chats from the other channel, but I try and remember sometimes to put them up on the screen, but they're on the screen at the moment. So yeah, please become a member, and then you can use the free the emojis, etc. What else? Thank you to those of you who buy me Ko-fis. Thanks to those of you who have bought merch. So to find out my what I have on offer to buy in the shop. That is on the Ko-fi page. My shop is on the Ko-fi page. So have a look at that at the Ko-fi page and see if there's any merchandise you're interested in. Thank you to those that bought me Ko-fis. Thank you to those that have sent super stickers, PayPal'd me, or sent me messages or nice emails, or contributed positively to my channel in any way. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Now, I'm going to take that banner off. What else did I want? I've got a list of things. I've started writing lists again now, because if I don't write lists, I forget everything. Oh, yeah, just wanted to mention TikTok. I'm not far off 1,000 subscribers on TikTok now. And TikTok's a funny place. I don't understand it greatly, to be honest. I put videos on there. Sometimes they get loads of views, sometimes they get hardly any views. I have no idea how that. I don't even understand the algorithm on YouTube, so I certainly don't understand it on TikTok. But what I put on TikTok tend to be just short videos, just to have a presence on there. But if you are a TikToker, please go over and follow me on TikTok and see if I can get to 1,000 followers soon, hopefully. Not that I know what difference it makes. I'm going to do some more lives on TikTok. I've only done maybe 2 or 3 lives. I don't really understand how that works. So, but I will. I'm going to do more lives on TikTok. Yeah. And, you know, I'm a voice of reason on TikTok. Oh, my God, TikTok. If you think YouTube's a war zone, TikTok is, honest to God, just... people do get away with talking a right load of crap on TikTok, I'm afraid. They seem to be able to lie, make things up, invent videos that never existed. It's a crazy place. So I'm the voice of reason. In fact, I think I might change my username to that. Vicky Marie Chats, the voice of reason, because, you know, at least, you know, people might think I talk crap, I don't know, but at least I don't make things up. You know, I give like factual things, and you know, I know that if I did make things up, my channel would grow a lot quicker. I've seen channels grow so quick. I think, God, I couldn't sleep at night knowing that I'd said all that rubbish and it wasn't true. And they know it's not true, these people, they know it, but they just don't care. I personally, I do care, and I won't be able to sleep at night, and I don't care if it grows my channels quicker. I've still got to sleep at night, haven't I? I've still got to have it. You've got to have some principles, for God's sake, which you see very rarely on TikTok, that's for sure. And sometimes YouTube can be like that as well. But anyway, we're not like that, are we? Our community, you know, we at the end of the day, we've got inquiring minds. Speculation is not above anyone, but making things up and totally fabricating things, you know, I just won't have that on my channel. So, yeah. So, yeah, if you're a TikToker, please go over to TikTok and follow me, and let's see if I can get to 1,000 followers by the end of the year. Hopefully, definitely, but hopefully before that. But that's the plan. Okay, what am I going to do now? So, hi, lovely lurkers. Good to see you. You're all looking fantastic. And I'm just so glad that you choose to watch my channel. Thank you. Hi, loathsome lurkers. And hi to Replay Crew. Thank you so much for tuning in, even if you haven't been able to watch the live. And now I'm coming into the chat, and I'm going to say hello to all of you lovely people that join in my chat. And you're brave. And of course, our community is nice. Don't be scared of joining in the chat. Nobody will be nasty to you. If they are, they'll soon be gone. Because I've got this magic button that gets rid of nasty people. And, you know, we're on a no tolerance. You know, life's too short, isn't it, to put up with nasty people. So that's what we've decided on this channel. So I'm going to come in now to the chat and say hello to everybody. Where are we? Where are we? Where are we? Hi, Angel. Hi, Bluebell. Yes, so glad. It's so good that these people have been arrested. Hi, David. Hi, Annie. Good morning. Now, the good news as well is here in Spain. So those of you who don't know me, I'm in Spain. It's 25 degrees. That is so cool compared to what it has been like. And sometimes I have to remember that it's still hot, of course. But I just feel like a different person today. This heat wave that we've had where it got to 45 degrees on my birthday weekend, it was like living in an air fryer. It is better now, but it's still 25 degrees and it's only 11:15 in the morning. I mean, it will definitely reach 30 probably. And that is, I was saying to number one son the other day, forgetting that is actually really hot as well. But just because it's been so hot, it feels almost cool, and just feel like a human being again. Where am I? Where am I? A lot of chatting going on. It's nice to see you all chatting. Annie, we can see your messages. We can see your messages. We definitely can. Look, that's a message that's in the chat that I've put up on the screen there. All right. So before we get started, I'm going to give out these free memberships, 10 free memberships on my Spanish and English channel. If I can find it, can't find my own channel. That's good, isn't it? Okay, so I'm going to go into it and I am going to give away 10. Let me just turn the sound down on it. I'm going to give away 10 free memberships. If I can, hang on, let me work it out. Right, hang on. Why join this channel? I don't have to join it. I don't have to join it because here we go. So I'm going to send 5. So catch. Okay, so 5 free memberships have gone out. We've got, it's just amazing really, because they're not names that I recognise. But so you just never know who's watching your channel. So thank you for watching. Free memberships have gone to Andrea Carlin, Teresa, Fenella's Ghost, Kelly UK, and Naughty Rudolph. So thank you for watching. You've received free memberships. And now I'm going to do the other 5. So you get Mum's free membership, and then you can decide whether you want to stay as a member or not. Oh, Mellow Maggots, Sherry Hart, Rini. Oh, and yeah, so there are some names I recognise there. Bridget Gentle and Vicky have all received free memberships. Thank you so much for watching. So Annie, see, look, that one's come up as well, Annie. We are seeing your messages. I'm not sure why you're not seeing them. Have you blocked yourself? Maybe you've blocked yourself, Annie. They're coming up anyway. they're coming up. But you know what? Sometimes there are glitches, aren't there? Sometimes it's good to go out again and come back, go out and come back in again. Sometimes that works. But we can see your messages, so don't worry about that. Oh, put the wrong one up there. That was Annie's. It's odd. So see, we are seeing your messages, definitely. Okay, so let's start by looking at these human remains found in Lytham. Now, I want to show you where Lytham is, first of all. So this is the UK. In England, Lytham. Lytham Google Maps. Let's have a look. Lytham. I think it's near Blackpool, but I just yeah. Okay, let me just share this with you. If you don't know where Lytham is, even if you're in the UK, you may not know where it is. But here it is. So we've got Blackpool here. Most people know of Blackpool. It's in the north of the UK, in Lancashire. And a lot of people, if they didn't know about it before, they'll know about this area through the Nicola Bulley case, or Charlene Downs, of course. It's a famous missing persons case in this area. And Lytham is not far away. It's here near the beach. It'll be a nice area, I believe, you know. But of course, probably like every other area, areas have nice parts and not so nice parts. I don't know much about what it'd be like to live in Lytham. I think Lytham St Anne's, which is here, is there. It's a very nice area from what I can gather. So that's where we are geographically, as far as the United Kingdom's concerned. Not that far from Manchester. Anyway, I'm going to read you the article. And these human remains were found while a house was being remodeled or reformed. Let me find my... get the article up. So this is, if you know that area, this is Cleveland Road. Lytham St. Oh, it says Lytham St Anne's. Oh, mate, I'm not sure it's Lytham or Lytham St Anne's, but they're not far away. And this, let's read this article. So, police say Cleveland Road human remains may be that of children. It's very sad, isn't it? But I don't know what was there before. I don't know how old these remains are. But on Friday, August the 22nd, the police provided an update with regard to the human remains found at a property on Cleveland Road in Lytham. The remains have now been removed from the property, and police inquiries will continue to identify who they are. I mean, what a trauma. These poor builders completing work on a property there and found bones. Now, as I say, are these like bones from many, many years ago? Like, you know, was there a burial ground there? Or are these more recent bones? We just don't know. So since then, the remains have been confirmed to be human. And our inquiries have led us to understand they may be that of children, and that this is an isolated historical burial. Now, what does that mean? So if it's isolated, then that suggests to me it's not a graveyard. Because if it was, you know, there'd be more bones there if there was a graveyard. But it says historical. Well, what does historical mean? Do they mean centuries old, or do they mean 100 years old? And he says, whilst we are keeping an open mind, I want to make it clear we're not treating this as suspicious. We believe at this stage that the burial is a historic one. Now, maybe there was a burial, as I say, a burial site there before, but surely there would be other bones. But anyway, we'd like to thank the homeowners and contractors for their patience whilst our inquiries were ongoing at the property. We know that this has attracted attention from the local community, so it was important to us to provide this update today. If you have any information that could assist us in identifying them, now we don't know how many people or children have been found, so it sounds to me that it's still quite mysterious. Now, it may be that it used to be a children's home. You know, these are they are quite old buildings, you know, so yeah. So if you're in, so that's it basically. If you know anything, or maybe any story about, if you're in that area, maybe you know what Cleveland Road was before. Was there a burial site there? Does that mean there's likely to be more bones? I mean, that would be quite scary, wouldn't it? If you live there, you know, you've bought this house in good faith, you're having it remodeled, you know, you're having it done up, refurbished. How many bones are under there? That's the first thing I'd want to know is, you know, literally, am I living above a graveyard? You know, people, oh, I'm not sharing it, I don't think. Sorry. Not that there's anything to see, only the picture of the property. You know, what you wouldn't like to think you were living above a load of human remains, would you? Even if they weren't, you know, high fluffy, even if they weren't, you know, it wasn't suspicious, you know, it still wouldn't be very nice, would it, to think that you were living above that? I'd want, you know, if that was my house, I would definitely want to know, are there more remains down there? And how many? Is it a graveyard? What is it? Now, they're saying it's isolated historical remains. Well, of course, it would help if they released how old the remains were, because people are, you know, it doesn't matter what you say, you know, they're going to turn around and say, oh, don't speculate or don't do. When you hear of human remains being found, of course, people are going to wonder who they are and where they are, and the thought, yeah, of living above them would be, you know, quite scary. And now finding out that they're children as well, that makes it even more creepy, doesn't it? So it is creepy. It is creepy. Anyway, God bless those children, whatever happens to them. I mean, it could be that there are no, you know, that they didn't die of foul play. It could, you know, depending on how old they are. Of course, you know, children often died, didn't they, of all sorts of diseases and things. You know, it could be anything that's happened there. So it was common for, you know, not that long ago, is it, that a lot of children didn't survive till adulthood. You know, it was childhood was a very dangerous time because you were vulnerable to illnesses, etc. And then, of course, as much as people complain about vaccines and this, that, and the other, but vaccines have saved lives. You know, vaccines for chickenpox and different those kind of illnesses. And you know, I remember from when my son was a baby, it's quite scary making that decision whether to vaccinate your child or not. I found it difficult because you know, you hear horror stories about the vaccines, you hear horror stories about the illnesses. I remember one of my nieces had whooping cough because she hadn't been vaccinated. Oh my God, she was so ill, so ill. I mean, she survived. You know, and you say, oh well, she survived, but when she was actually ill with whooping cough, it was a very, very scary time. So, yeah, these are decisions. These are decisions that parents have to make, aren't they? And I do remember being scared. In the end, I did go ahead. I think my son has had all his vaccinations. I think there was one that for some reason he didn't have. I can't remember which one it was. but he's had all his vaccinations here in Spain. But I remember worrying about it. So, being a parent is it's constant decisions. Do you give them a vaccine? Don't give them a vaccine. Then you'd feel guilty if you didn't give them a vaccine and they got ill. And then you'd feel guilty if you gave them a vaccine and they got ill. And, it's all decisions, and you just have to do the best you can as a parent, for your child, and what you think in the end is the right decision. And I have to say, although, I've always been a single parent with my son, that was one time when I did say, to his dad, ask him what he thought. And it was great, because he was just sort of, well, give him the vaccine, obviously. Because some people don't think about it at all. They just go ahead with things, don't they? And sometimes it's good to be that, convinced of something. But once you start looking into vaccines, of course, that's when you start to worry about them and everything. But, at the end of the day, children do live. More children survive now than they used to before vaccines. That's one thing that is 100% certain. So that's what I just wanted to tell you about that. If you look, thing is as well, I know that I have a lot of subscribers, a lot of chatters in that area that sort of probably came to my channel through Nicola Bully in the first instance. From that area, Lancashire, Blackpool, etc., Manchester, and around that area. I have a lot of chatters from there. So if any of you know anything about anything, then obviously the police are trying to identify these remains one way or another. I thought it was interesting how they say isolated historical remains, because that does seem to me that this is not a burial ground then, and as I say, it would help if the police would actually give us more information. How many children? The same children, but how many? So obviously more than one, because the same children, but is it 2, 3, 4, 10, 50? I mean, we just don't know. Hi, Skits. Good to see you. So that's that first case that I just wanted to talk to you about, let you know about, and thank you to my subscriber who knows who they are for sending me that. 'Cause it's interesting. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? Just how many times do you hear of human remains being found? You don't, we still haven't had an update on the ones that were found on the beach, have we? And who was it? I don't think the police, certainly in the UK, they don't keep people up to date enough with information, and then they complain because people speculate. Well, people speculate, you don't give them any information. But anyway, there you go. Okay, so let's stop sharing that. And what we're going to look at next was this, as I say, this was a story we followed at the time as it was happening. And this is this couple, Andrew and Dawn, who were living the life, if you like, in France. Living the dream. People always talk about living the dream, don't they? I hate that expression. Because I know I live in Spain and people say, oh yeah, living the dream. It doesn't matter if you live in Spain, you live in France, you live in Barbados or wherever. You have all the same problems wherever you live, just maybe a nicer environment and better weather. And then sometimes the weather can be too much, like it has been in Spain over this last couple of weeks. There is no dream life. Life is life wherever you go. You can go to France, you can go to Spain, you can go, as I say, to Barbados or Florida or wherever you would consider a dream life would be. People still get ill. They still have to work for a living. There's financial problems. People still have mental health problems. It doesn't matter where you live. People quite often think that they come for a new life in Spain. And yes, it is a new life. It's a different life. But there are things that are good about it and things that are bad about it, just as there are wherever you are. And there are things that you will always miss if you go to live in Spain or anywhere else. Your family, the familiarity. Sometimes the things that irritate you where you live, you miss them when you go and live somewhere else. You certainly miss your family. And I lived in three places, really, I suppose. I was brought up in Manchester. I moved to Reading in the south of England. And then I came to live here in Spain. And there's things I like about all those places. You're living the dream would be if you could take the best of all those places. You know, if you could take the good things about Manchester, the good things about Reading, and the good things of Spain and mash them all together and get rid of the bad things. But, you know, you can't. So, you know, I love living in Spain sometimes. Sometimes it drives me absolutely crackers. And I wish I could go back to the UK. And then I look at the UK and I think, oh, God, I couldn't live there. And then if I look at other countries, I think, oh, well, that looks nice. You know, you might look at living in Australia or New Zealand or, as I say, Barbados or Florida or something. I think, oh, that looks like a lovely life. That's, you know, it's still just the same life. You're still in the same person as well. Sometimes people get restless. They're restless spirits anyway. So you might go off and live somewhere else and still get restless. I personally, you know, I'm quite jealous of people who are happy where they are. I was never happy where, you know, I've always felt like moving on. This is the most that I've ever stayed in one place. Probably because by then I had children. But, you know, if you if you've got a restless spirit, you know, it's like you're looking for something, but you'll never find it because sometimes it's in you. You have to feel happy in you. And if you're happy in you, you would be happy wherever you were. But yeah, as I say, you can't go and live in Spain and think you'll never get ill or you'll never have a problem or you'll never have financial problems. All the problems are the same, just the environment maybe is a little bit nicer. And I feel that's what happened with this couple. You can see on some of the photos, this is a picture from their social media now. Andrea, she was Scottish. I don't think Andrew was... sorry, not Andrea, Dawn. She's Scottish. I don't think that Andrew was Scottish, but he's got a kilt on there. I don't know. This is obviously some sort of celebration. They've got a child. I don't know if it's his grandchild, her grandchild. But, you know, there are lots of nice pictures from their social media. I mean, these are only two that I'm showing. You know, and we know what social media is like. It never tells the full story, does it? You know, they're not going to put pictures on social media of them not smiling and looking miserable. From what we can gather, Andrew had some money problems. Of course, he had this mysterious past where he supposedly worked for banks or something, dealing with like organised crime, and some people thought they might have been targeted because of that. Possibly, but you know, the police anyway have decided they've concluded their investigation. There is no evidence of any third party being involved. So because the thing is, although Dawn had defensive injuries and she was killed by blunt force trauma to the head, Andrew had no defensive injuries. So for them to stage his self-deletion, they did it, you know, without him being subdued in any way. So this is what the French police say anyway. This is the conclusion that has come to. Now, this was the wedding day. It's a beautiful photo, isn't it? You know, when you look at how happy they are, that is her son, who, as I say, is quite a famous actor. And he must have been giving her away. I mean, everything looks lovely. They look so happy. He looks happy. She looks happy. He must feel absolutely awful now because he gave her away. And it's nothing to do with him, of course. It's not his fault. But, you know, these are human feelings that you would feel. And I expect him and the rest of her family all thought that Andrew was a great guy. Thought they were happy, you know. But they weren't, so, or certainly weren't at the end. Sorry, I'm going to sneeze. I was going to sneeze, but I'm not now. It's gone. It's gone. I hate that. So I may sneeze all of a sudden. So what we're going to have a look at first. Let's have a look at the article. So this is the son, Callum Kerr, and he played PC Kiss in the soap opera Hollyoaks. Now, I never watch soap operas, but I'm sure there's some of you out there that have seen Hollyoaks and maybe know Callum from Hollyoaks. And he walked his mother, Dawn Searle, down the aisle in 2023, so just a couple of years ago. And as I say, look at that beautiful picture. So happy. It's just tragic, isn't it, really, how it all ended up just 2 years later. So an actor whose mother was the victim of a murder-suicide in France has urged her friends not to attend his stepdad's funeral. Callum Kerr, who appeared in Hollyoaks and Netflix's Virgin River, said it would be inappropriate for the memory of his mother, Dawn Searle, to be associated with her husband, Andrew Searle. The couple's bodies were discovered by a neighbour at their country home in the Aveyron region on the 6th of February. And the prosecutor in charge of the case previously told the BBC it was murder followed by self-deletion, and there is no evidence that another person was involved. And that the statement issued on Mr. Kerr's Instagram account on behalf of the actor and his sister Amanda comes more than 6 months after the couple were found dead. And it is unclear why it has taken so long for Mr. Searle's body to be released by the French authorities, or when his funeral is scheduled to take place. And Mr. Kerr, who is also a country singer in the US, and his sister said that while the investigation to the deaths was ongoing, they cannot ignore the circumstances as they stand. And for this reason, we must respectfully but firmly request that our mother not be included in any way in the funeral arrangements being made for Andrew. They urged their mother's friends not to attend the ceremony and asked people not to share photos of Mr. and Mrs. Searle together. The statement concluded it would be inappropriate for her memory to be associated with a service honouring the man who, based on all available evidence, may have been responsible for her death. So it sounds like a final decision has not been given yet. We ask for understanding, privacy and respect as we continue to grieve and seek justice for our mum. How it's so very sad, isn't it? Because, so yeah, it was Les Pesquier, north of Toulouse, or Les Pesquier. I'm not sure how it's pronounced. But yeah, there they have this lovely house. She was found in the garden as if she'd been running away from someone, and she was surrounded by jewellery and things like that, which really, if you think, if it was a thief, why didn't they take all the jewellery? Anyway, she had severe head injuries. He was found inside the house, and he had suspended himself from a radiator, apparently. So Mrs. Searle's body was found in the garden of the couple's property in the hamlet of Les Pesquier with severe wounds to her head, and Mr. Searle's body was found inside. Police were alerted to the incident by a neighbour who'd gone to check on them when they failed to turn up for a planned dog walk, and post-mortem examinations confirmed that she suffered multiple blows to the head with a blunt and sharp-edged object, while Mr. Searle died from hanging. So Mrs. Searle was 56. She grew up in Eyemouth in the Scottish borders, and Mr. Searle was a little bit older, 62, originally from England. They previously lived in Musselburgh near Edinburgh and married in France in 2023. They had lived in the Aveyron region for 5 years. And Mr. Searle previously worked in financial crime prevention at companies including Standard Life and Barclays Bank. that's like, what happened. What we're going to just have a look at now is the video. I'm just going to put what Windows going to put down. Just trying to put a few windows down because, as usual, I've got too many open. I think most of them are for the last case. I'm going to, I can take that one down. Put that one down, that one. So actually, before I show you the video of him, I just want to show, so these are the sort of photos, from this couple. Look, all smiling for the cameras, all this social media, and who knows what was going on behind the scenes, whether he had financial problems, what would have driven him to do it. If he did do it, which it seems like he probably did, why did he do it? Did he just lose it because he was under so much stress, and then maybe he planned to cover it up, and then he just couldn't in the end? We just don't know. We don't know. But it is, I know, a lot of smiley. There's always a lot of smiley on social media, isn't it? Oh, bye, Annie. I agree. Social media is mainly lies, isn't it? You cannot judge people by what they put on their social media profile. You just can't. Oh, Westside, I'm sorry to hear about your partner. I hope they're feeling better soon. So Rini, the one on the beach, they've told their family, but who is it? Who is it? Do you know who it is? I haven't seen it. Sorry, that's what I was talking about earlier, isn't it? Who is it? Let's have a look. Identity. Oh, 2 days ago. I missed that. A man in his 30s. So sorry, I'm just jumping a little bit there. What Rena was just, I'd missed this. Says they'd identified the individual as a man in his 30s and his family has been informed. So it's not anyone who was missing in the sense of ones, we were talking about Derek Clayton or Charlene Downs, people were talking about. I haven't seen that on, I must start following the Gazette more. So a man in his 30s and his family has been informed. I will put that as a post because people were interested in that case. I mean, at any time that human remains are found, of course people are interested, especially when there's people missing in that area. So yeah, they've told his family and it's a man in his 30s. Okay. So yeah, social media, just can't believe anything you see on social media. Smiley doesn't mean anything, does it really? Not much anyway. Well, the thing is, they're all moments in time, aren't they? So in the moment in time that these photos were taken, they were probably happy. But, there's always things going on behind the scenes, in the background. you probably know as well as I do that every day is different. You can have a brilliant day where you think, oh, this is great, and then the next day's a bloody disaster. Like yesterday for me was a disaster. Not anything like, people dying or stuff like that. But, I'm not going into it. But it was a disaster, and it just puts you off, and you just think, oh, God, you think everything's swimming along, and then suddenly, boom. And everything always happens at once. Did you notice that? Like my phone's broke. Then there was some issues going on with all sorts of other things. And it all happened yesterday in one day. Hopefully that's all got it all over with in one day. So yeah, when these photos were actually taken, it could be that they were happy. It could be that he had problems that he hadn't even shared with his wife. But she looks very smiley, doesn't she? And it's so very sad. As whatever, if he he did end up losing it for whatever reason, and I'm not sticking up for him because it's terrible that he killed her, but things can go wrong, can't they, in life? You just don't know what's around the corner. Probably a good job we don't know what's around the corner. So I just want to look at the actual video of him when he was buying his lottery tickets. Because to me, and maybe it's just me, but the minute I saw this video, I thought he looks stressed to buggery. Now, whether he'd already killed her there, this was definitely on the same day of the incident. Whether somebody said on one comment they left that maybe she was waiting in the car outside, I don't know. I wondered if he'd gone there to buy the lottery tickets as a sort of cover up, when he was thinking of covering it up, like as a robbery. Maybe he was going to say he popped out to buy the lottery tickets and then he went home and there she was. She'd been attacked while he was away. Maybe that was what his plans were. And then maybe in the end he just couldn't do it. It's not... The thing is, if you try and cover up a crime, especially a murder, it's not just one day, is it? You know that you're going to have intensive interrogations. You've got to live with it for the rest of your life. You've got to be a pretty cold psychopath, really, to think that you can do that. And this man probably isn't a cold psychopath. Seems to me that probably everything's got on top of him. And as I say, I'm not making excuses for him. It's still terrible what he's done. But I doubt very much if he could have then gone on and then pretended it was all just a robbery or whatever. You'd take a pretty cold person to be able to do that, and he probably isn't that person. But you just tell me what you think. I thought he looked... Other thing that I noticed, watch him here, he moves around this guy, and I think it's so that the CCTV will see him. So he's there behind this guy who's buying something or doing something. And then Andrew moves around, and I think he did that to make sure the CCTV would see him. Again, these are just feelings that I get. I'm speculating. Sorry, God, but speculation is a human thing. That's what I speculate. So there is no sound, by the way. So if you're wondering why there's no sound, there is no sound. Yeah. When I look at those other pictures that we've seen of him, the photos, to me on this, he looks really stressed. Don't know why. He just does this something about his face that's not right. And it may not be because he's just killed her. Maybe it was all the money things he had on his mind or whatever he had on his mind. Let's just go back to that where he moves out the way again. Yeah, let's see. Oh, see how he moved? He was behind this guy here. And he moved to the side of him. So anyway, I'm sure you'll all let me know what you think of that video in comments. Is it feasible? You know, I think he was just trying to, you know, do his usual routine. And just a few hours later, they were both found dead. So, you know, yeah, they would definitely have taken, jewellery if it was a robbery. It wasn't a robbery. Some people were saying it might have been a hit connected to, you know, what his job was. I don't think, you know, and a lot, of course, all their friends were like, oh, we can't believe that he would have done this. You just never know, never, ever know what is going on inside someone's head or in their life. You know, what do they say? You've got, what is it, your public life, your private life, and your secret life. We have 3 lives: public life, private life, secret life. And so many people do have secret lives. They would surprise you, wouldn't they? So, okay, now we're going to look in a moment at the case of baby Jake. Sorry, not baby Jake. Big man Jake, and baby Emmanuel. I'm going to just put that up. But I'm just going to go and have a bathroom break, get a drink. I know what I put up while we're waiting. My name is Big Jake Haro, and I'm a total piece of shit. So this man is built like a man mountain, but he likes to kill babies and strangle babies. So, you know, Emmanuel, one of his other children, he strangled when she was just a few weeks old, left her with brain damage, blind, can't walk properly, can't swallow, needs 24-hour care for the rest of her life. She's now 7 years old. She's never going to get any better. But in the meanwhile, this great big tosser was allowed to spend time with his family and his other children. So, as I said, the authorities are definitely responsible here, as far as I'm concerned as well. Just as responsible as he is. This man should have been chemically castrated for a start. Somebody was saying in one of the videos I watched, because he was allowed home to his family every night, even though he was supposed to be in prison, that's how Emmanuel was conceived. Poor Emmanuel, you know, what a sad life he had. He had a short life and a sad one. And on the photos that I see of Emmanuel, to me, looks like he's already got some sort of brain damage or issues or something wrong with his eye. Who knows what this man had done to him? I hate this man so much. Honest to God, I feel like I could castrate him myself, honestly, because how dare he have all these children? Children are a precious gift. There are people who are desperate for children and can't have them. He's got 6. One of them is murdered or has been charged for murdering. And another one, he strangled when they were a baby and left them with all these severe injuries. And then he's got 4 other children. You know, it's like, so apparently his ex-partner has taken, well, won't matter now because he's been arrested, but before he was arrested took out a restraining order so he couldn't go anywhere near them. You know, this man is a danger, not only around children, because of course it looks like he gave his wife a big black eye as well. I'm sure she's terrified of him. The only reason I'm not laying into her as much as him is because until I find out the circumstances, if it turns out that she's just as much of a piece of shit as he is, don't worry, I'll be laying into her. But at the moment, I'm giving her a bit the benefit of the doubt, at least that I think she was probably terrified of him. But then she made a decision. She's a big girl. She made a decision to stay with him. But it's not always so easy to break away from domestic violence pieces of shit like him. So, until we find out more details, my most of my anger is focused on him, because there's no doubt in my mind he killed Emmanuel, like he nearly killed his other child. He's just not above anything, is he? Like, that's the lowest of the low. There's a lot of violent people out there in the world, but even the most violent of people draw the line, don't they, at child cruelty, especially their own children. He's the lowest of the low. Can't get any lower than this great big piece of shit. His button mushroom, as I said the other day, obviously works because he's got 6 children. But oh my God, it's like, does he have to prove he's a big man by abusing babies? Does that make him a man? Does he think he's a man doing that? What an absolute POS he is. So that's what we're going to talk about in a minute. We're going to see the video we're going to read the police statement. We're going to see the video of the arrest. But in the meantime, I've just got I'll be, I won't be 9 seconds. This was a standing joke, isn't it, when we talk about Erin Patterson and her 9-second bathroom break. I will definitely be longer than that, but not too much longer. I think I might put a little song on, because we'll need a little bit of light relief, because this, I'll just tell you now, this is going to be, it's very upsetting. So just be warned. But before, I'm going to put a song on, so try and clear the palette, if you like. See you in a minute.
Oh, you Vicky Marie, you're so dream, you're so bold. Your YouTube world is the purest gold. With every video, fresh and new, light my days with joy so true. Oh, Vicky Marie, your voice, your charm, your spark, your flair, keep me glued beyond compare. From all you share, no other channel shines so rare. The common fans agree, we're all here for your energy. A loyal crowd of the game. So here's my thanks from me to you for all the fun and wisdom too. Keep creating, be the same. Vicky Marie, you've won the game.
Okay, I'm back. Right. Okay, so I'm back and we're going to look at this case now. We're going to look at the arrest video. We're going to look at what the police had to say. And yeah. Sorry, I'm just reading through the chat. Now, yeah, now the police are saying, David, I appreciate what you're saying, and I thought that. So I thought, I don't believe, the police don't believe in coincidences now. Yeah, well, who knows? Oh, God, he bought a saw. Well, I don't know that, David. The police are saying that they didn't think that fire had anything to do with it. It was a coincidence, which is unusual for the police to say, because they normally say they don't believe in coincidences. For anyone who doesn't know, one of the homes over the road from where these two pieces of shit live, there was a fire. They had the people on CCTV that had started the fire, though, didn't they? Anyway, the police have said they don't think that fire had anything to do with it. Personally, I don't think, but we'll see. I mean, time will tell. Yeah, that poor little child's body could be anywhere. It'd be only a tiny body to hide, even if you didn't dismember it. Sorry, but this is what maybe the police are thinking. But where the police are concentrating their search, and you'll see in a minute what this guy has got to say. And he's a very Steve Fisher. He says what his thoughts are. He's there at the scene. They are concentrating their search in the bedroom, and they are digging it. So has he been buried somewhere? I think this baby has been dead for a long time, not just a week, not even maybe 2 weeks, maybe as long as a month, maybe even more than a month. This baby has been deceased, and because nobody knows when he was last seen, by anyone apart from the family. When was this baby last seen in public? And even then, on the photos that we do have of him, to me, he already looks like he's got some brain damage or something. It doesn't seem right to me. I think that baby has been probably tortured from when he was born, maybe shaken, maybe strangled like the other little girl. How do you strangle a baby? Just somebody tell me. How do you do that? Great big brick shit house like Jake. Great big man getting a tiny little baby. Imagine it. You couldn't do it to a dog. You couldn't do it to anyone, a person. But to do it to a little baby, defenseless, helpless, just because maybe it was crying. I don't know. Babies cry. Hello, hold the phone. Do you know babies cry, Jake? You've got fucking 6 of them. You must know that babies cry. God, I hate this man so much. I can't even tell you. Makes me so angry. So angry. I've just got to put that back up again because it makes me feel better. When I put this up, I can't wait to see his arrest interview. I hope it's as embarrassing as Stephen Stearns' was, because I'm definitely going to put that all over the internet. Tosser. So calm, deep breath. Don't get angry. This is why I don't do children's cases, or I try to avoid them, because I get so angry. I mean, I get angry sometimes with most cases, because most cases, you get angry with the perpetrator. But these, anyway. So let's have a look what the police had to say. Right, where am I? Where's the police? I think it's here. Okay, so yeah, this is the update on the police, San Bernardino police. This happened in California, in San Bernardino. I think most people probably know California. I mean, I don't know it in the sense with not necessarily that you've been there. But as far as America's concerned, it's not somewhere that we probably haven't heard of. So this is the USA in San Bernardino, California, and this is the update, the news release from the police. So the date's August the 22nd, which was yesterday to all intents and purposes. The incident, PC 187 murder, the location. God, they always have these massive numbers, don't they, in their addresses in America. And you know what I'm like with, is that 50,000 Ramona Avenue, Cabazon, California. Suspect 1, Jake Mitchell Haro, 32 years old. God, he's only 32. Oh my God, he's 32. He's got 6 children. One's dead and the other one's disabled because of him, because of his actions. Resident of Cabazon, California. And suspect 2, Rebecca Haro, 41 years old. So she's nearly 10 years older than him. And she looks younger than him, to be fair. Victim, Emmanuel Haro, 7-month-old infant of Cabazon, California. Summary. This investigation began on August the 14th, 2025, as a reported kidnapping at the Big Five in Yucaipa. The San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department immediately dedicated all available resources to locate 7-month-old Emmanuel Haro. During the investigation thus far, numerous interviews have been conducted, search warrants have been served, digital and electronic evidence has been collected and closely analysed. Based on the evidence, investigators determined a kidnapping in Yucaipa did not occur. It is believed Emmanuel is deceased and the search to recover his remains is ongoing. Now, don't forget, they seized the car, didn't they? If they believe Emmanuel is deceased, and there were also reports that they'd found blood in the house. So they found something. The police haven't charged them immediately with murder like that. And her as well, you know. So the thing is, they've got something. Like there's a lot, Steve Fisher was explaining, there's a lot of things they could have charged them for initially just to get them into the police station. Like he was on parole anyway, so he could have been lifted at any time for breach of parole or whatever. There's always the police can find something to get people into the police station until they decide whether to charge them with murder. But no, they went bung, bang, arrested them for murder. They're saying this boy is dead. So they've got a reason for saying that. They won't be saying it otherwise. Arrest warrants were obtained from the Riverside County Superior Court, and on August the 22nd, detectives from the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Homicide Detail and Specialized Enforcement Division arrested Jake and Rebecca Haro at their residence in Cabazon for murder. Both suspects were booked in a Riverside County jail without bail. No other arrests have been made and no suspects remain outstanding. So nobody else is suspected. So there was some talk like about some of the family members, but I think they've bamboozled the family, you know, by, now you think about it with your family, you know, not so much now, there's not that many babies in my, if any, in my family at the moment, but there have been over the years. You know, my mum and dad had many, well, they had 5 children, they had many grandchildren who have since had children. You know, so there have been times in our family where there have been quite a few babies, but we wouldn't see each other every day. You know, you might just get a phone call once a week. My mum and dad get a phone call maybe from my sisters or brother or whatever. And if they said to them, you know, it might be a couple of weeks before they actually saw them and saw the baby. They'd be like, oh, how, you know, how's the baby? And they'd be saying, oh, yeah, fine, blah, blah, blah. Now, if, and luckily for me and my family, nothing like that has ever happened in my family, and I hope it never will. What you're going to say when they say, oh yeah, the baby's fine? Like, you're not going to say, oh, can put a picture of it up or put it up on, on your WhatsApp video so that I can see that it's alive. You're not going to say that, are you? Just accept what people say. You've got no reason to think anything. And I think that's what's happened in this case. They've made all sorts of excuses for leaving. What did they say? They'd left him in the car because he hadn't had his vaccinations or whatever. There's all sorts of reasons that people can come out with. I don't think it'd be difficult to hide a baby. Pretend a baby was alive. Not for a length of time, but, for a short period of time. And I think probably what's happened in this case, they've been doing that. And then maybe it just came to a point they couldn't do it any longer. And that's why they had to come up with this, story that she'd been attacked and the baby had been kidnapped. And I bet I could just imagine them sat there planning it, because they're thickos, aren't they? Who think they're those thickos who think they're clever, but actually they're thick as pig, shit. Because you can just see them sat there, and he's probably saying, oh, well, you've got that black eye. We'll say that somebody punched you in the eye. Just like thickos. That poor baby had the misfortune to be born into that environment. So, yeah, he's probably been dead for quite a while. I certainly believe this. So while these arrests mark a significant development, our focus remains on finding Emmanuel. Sheriff Shannon Dickus stated, the circumstances surrounding this investigation are tragic, and we will continue to search for Emmanuel. I want to thank members of the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department, County District Attorney's Office, Riverside County District Attorney's Office, Riverside County Sheriff's Department, the community and the media for bringing attention to this case. I hope our justice system will hold the parents accountable. Yeah, unlike what they did last time. Okay, now here's the video of the arrest. Oh. Yes, I agree. Where's... Oh, right. Oh, they've sort of put it for download. Might be downloaded in a sec. See, oh, that's nice of him. I suppose, you know what, there's one thing that's good about them doing that is, I've got to share it as a video file. Hang on. Is then it saves them dealing with all the requests for the video. Because no doubt everyone would be requesting the video always. Otherwise. Yeah, they've just put it up for download, which means that they don't have to deal with a load of different requests. People, there it is. It's a good idea. the state of it. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, well, how did, you know, this woman, although I think 100% it is Jake who did it, how is she not, you know, when she was called in for questioning, when she was on her own with the police, that's when she should have come clean. And she would have been protected. You know what? Having said that, I was thinking about it. So last time when he did whatever he did to the other little girl, he was allowed out, wasn't it? So maybe, you know, and I'm trying to give her the benefit of the doubt. Maybe this woman, Rebecca, she just thought, God, I've got no guarantee that they're going to keep me safe. I don't know. Maybe that's why she didn't say. If I was her now, I'd be so relieved that I would be taken away from this horrible man. Oh, let's just have I just want to show again. Oh, let's watch this first and then we'll have a look at the black eye again. God, I'd be like, look, she's got a flip-flop. I'm like, going to put a bit of makeup on. How did they possibly think they would get away with it? What, you know, it's like, flippos is not the word. I just hope they find this baby soon. Put him to rest. Look at the state of him. Oh, Mr. Jake, big man, butter mushroom. Disgusting. How does he even get a woman to sleep with him? Never mind have 6 children. Revolting. Revolting. Well, I'll tell you what, you'll bump into people in prison that aren't little babies that can't defend themselves. Yeah, one of them gives him a strangle. See how he likes it. Oh, poor thing, boy. Oh, have you got a sore foot? Oh, didn't. Swamp. Oh, God. Horrible man. How could she even stand him near her? How could she even stand him near her? Even be in the same house as him? With other children. So, I do, these guys, like, who go in and get these twonks, they must, you know, really, they would probably love to give him a, you know, give him a whack. Yes. Exactly, Angel. They could slam the door on his leg. Oh, sorry, by accident. You know, he is such a twonk. He's going to hell. Surely going to hell. That guy. Surely going to hell. Let's certainly hope so that he is. Hang on, sorry, I've stopped the video. So this is the video that the police have released of the arrest. And as I said, they've released it to be downloaded for anyone to download, which is good because it saves people, you know, sending freedom of information requests. They've just put out the video and you just download it, and that's good. Transparency. So now they're moving into the house, they're searching everything, and you'll see that, just take that out now. You'll see that they're concentrating on one particular bedroom, apparently. But we're going to look at a video that talks about that. Right. So again, let me just put some windows down. We've watched that. Okay, so what we're going to watch now is a YouTube video from, I think it's Law and Crime Network. And we're going to watch this together. Oh, just before that, I just want to go back to the picture. Remember, we were looking at the black eye? And we were talking, and we were right, of course, in the end, because this is her black eye. And part of the thing that people were saying is she said she got that black eye when the very next day. So apparently Emmanuel was kidnapped, according to her, in 10 o'clock in the evening. The very next day, she was there with this black eye that she said she'd got the day before. So we showed a few different black eyes. This was from, I don't know, 4 days after I whacked my head on the side of the bath and got this black eye. Similar, isn't it? And then one of the chatters sent in a photo of her black eye, which I can't remember how she actually did it, but again, fading. Well, it was 2 days after this. It wasn't fading, but it was 2 days later. And then we had this picture of how bruises heal. And it is definitely the 5 to 10 days, isn't it? 5 to 10 days she's had this black eye. Definitely didn't happen at 10 o'clock the night before. So, you know, again, thickos. They thought that people would go, oh, yeah, she must have got that black eye the night. Did they think people are stupid? Certainly law enforcement's not stupid. Anyway, let's go back to this.
To get his diapers ready, and somebody said, hold on, that's all I remember.
That video per KABC. It was a little more than a week ago. Rebecca and Jake Haro were on the local news in Los Angeles pleading for the public to help find their son.
Look, neither of them could look at the camera. He's just looking down. You know, there's no eye contact. There were no tears. It was all, but no tears, no real tears. So, you know, it was pretty obvious. But at the end of the day, you always think, oh, try and give people the benefit of the doubt.
Whoever took our son.
Yeah, this twat, sorry, it's the only word that describes him. Even twonk just doesn't do. He's got a bloody baby in his arms there, a 2-year-old. So he's strangled one of his children to the point of brain damage, blindness, can't swallow, needs lifetime care. This boy is dead, no doubt. He's done it. And he's got another baby here, a 2-year-old. Why is he allowed to have these children?
Please give him back.
But this morning, law enforcement were back at their home and they were put under arrest.
See, this is little Emmanuel, and, you know, he isn't raising his head at all on any of his photos. I think this boy, he was probably tortured from the minute he was born. I don't believe that, well, who knows how long he's been deceased for, but I'm sure he's been hurt before because his eyes are not right. The way he holds his head is not right. That he's probably been tortured from birth, this poor little one.
What we know about the whereabouts of little Emmanuel right now. We're on the case presented by Law and Crime. I'm Chris Stewart. We are still gathering details right now from law enforcement about the arrest of the parents of 7-month-old Emmanuel Haro. This is now a murder investigation, and this is drone video shot by missing persons private investigator Steve Fisher above the home of Rebecca and Jake Haro today in Cabazon, California. Initially, law enforcement said they were conducting an operation at the home, but shortly after that, they told us Rebecca and Jake Haro were taken into custody accused of murder. At the time of this recording, deputies say they are continuing their search for 7-month-old Emmanuel Haro. Here's a picture that law enforcement put out of the boy. This story started on Thursday night last week when his mom said that she was attacked and the boy was taken when she went to change him in a parking lot of a sporting.
There's definitely something wrong with this boy. And, it just occurred to me, it looks like maybe he was shaken or attacked or whatever, and he didn't die immediately. Maybe he died later. Maybe they got up one morning and there he was, because of whatever injuries he'd sustained before. Maybe he just gave up his little fight and died. Maybe someone came to take him to a better place, take him away from this horrible man. Oh my God. I hope he spins in hell, because how you could hurt a little one like that. But yeah, this little boy doesn't look too well, does he? So wonder if, he was ill for a while. And it's like they're taking all these pictures, trying to make him look like he's okay, but he obviously is not okay.
Goods store about 20 minutes from their home in Yucaipa, California.
They laid him down and so I could get his diapers ready. And somebody said, "Hola," and that's all I remember. Rebecca
said that on KABC TV. Here is what Jake Haro, the dad, said.
Whoever took our son, please get him back.
Over the next couple of days, as the search for Emmanuel continued, deputies say they found inconsistencies in the story Rebecca Haro was giving. They said when they called her out on those inconsistencies, she stopped cooperating with them. Deputies said they could not rule out foul play. Deputies also say they took a 2-year-old from the home and they seized a family car. They also had served search warrants at this house already, so it's unclear today what evidence made deputies make this arrest and know for sure in their minds that they were dealing with a murder. Jake Haro has a lawyer. His name is Vincent Hughes, and as of yesterday, he was claiming his client was innocent and ready to speak to investigators. Here's what he said on News Nation's Banfield.
Why have Rebecca and Jake stopped cooperating with the police?
And this defense lawyer, he's a piece of shit as well. Do you know what this reminds me of? You remember, for those of you who've been watching my channel for a while, remember when Anna Knezevic went missing and that fucking lot, sorry, excuse my French. YouTube won't like me using this language, but you know what? And that effing lawyer, defense lawyer, came on saying, "Oh, my client knows nothing about why Anna's, he's never even been to Spain. He doesn't speak Spanish. Then it turns out, of course, that David Knezevic has rented a hire car, driven all the way from bloody Serbia to Madrid in Spain, murdered this woman, taken her away, and her body's still not been found." And this is what he reminds me of. How can they do it? I don't care. You could pay me millions. You would not get me on TV making an effing idiot of myself, sticking up for pieces of shit like Jake Haro. You couldn't pay me enough money to do that. You could not pay me enough money. Take your stupid jacket, your stupid waistcoat, your stupid tie. You look like a fucking idiot, and you're on there defending the indefensible. How do you sleep? You're even worse than him because you're just doing it for money. He's a psycho or a bloody idiot or something. You're doing it for money. You're disgusting. They're disgusting, these defense lawyers. Absolutely disgusting. I don't know how you look at yourself in the mirror. I don't know how you sleep at night. Don't know how you look at your own family. And somebody needs to tell you that suit and everything you've got, and you look like a fucking idiot.
If they're desperate to find the baby and the police are looking for the baby.
I don't know where the statement that they stopped cooperating came from, Ashley. I spoke to the detectives yesterday, offered for Jake to continue to speak with them, have not been made aware of any request today to speak with Jake. I don't represent Rebecca. That needs to be very clear. But I have not been asked to produce Jake. I offered to produce Jake. They voluntarily turned over all of their electronic devices, including the passwords. I think that's something that's huge that nobody has been made aware of.
We did reach out to Hughes today for comment about his client's arrest. He has yet to get back to us at the time of this recording. He was clear in his interview. He's only representing Jake Haro. He's not representing Jake's wife, Rebecca, who is also accused of murder. It is unclear when the last time Emmanuel was seen. This is a huge part to this story. Rebecca said the child was with her at a football game for her other son when she went to the sporting goods store where she claimed that abduction happened. But information's come to light where there are serious questions on whether or not that was true. The Uvalde Foundation for Kids is a nonprofit that was helping in the search for Emmanuel. They offered reward money.
Now, I just want to say about that Uvalde Foundation for Kids, they're not good either. So, you know, it's supposed to be a charitable foundation for kids. They got involved in the Sebastian Rogers case. They're shysters as well. Do you know, are there anybody out there that is honest, genuine, and cares about children? Honestly, I'm starting to wonder.
They pulled away from helping and pulled their reward money when they learned that Emmanuel was not seen at that football game. And there were also major questions about Rebecca's bruise under her eye, because that is not fresh enough to fit the timeline that she gave law enforcement and the public. Joining us now is missing persons private investigator Steve Fisher, who is on the scene outside the Haro's home. Steve, I apologize for my voice.
Now, this is Steve Fisher that I've talked about before. I follow him on Twitter. He hasn't got a YouTube channel, but he quite often appears on, like, you know, News Nation and Law and Crime Network and that. I really think his work is brilliant. He looks for missing people. He doesn't get involved in drama. Well, he tries not to. Sometimes people try and involve him in drama, but he doesn't get involved in drama. He's a very genuine person, and he goes and allows people to use his coverage as long as they give him credit, obviously. As I say, he's not a YouTuber, but he makes videos like with drones, etc. And he must be not too far away from here because he's actually gone to the scene here. And just arrived as they were being arrested.
Voice, I lost it overnight, but some big breaking news we're following here. What are you seeing?
So I got out here, today to continue just doing some searching, including some drone mapping and whatnot. And then early this morning, they served murder warrants on the house for both parents. They came in with a Bearcat. SWAT team came in and took them out. And now, what's been going on, I've kind of seen some of what's going on from the air, and I've talked to a few of the officers. Detectives I've seen them sifting through garbage in the rear corner of the house, and I've seen a couple inside the house. They seem to be focused in one bedroom, which would be the building on the west side of the property.
What might have brought them back?
So yeah, it's him that said they're seemed to be focused on one bedroom.
Looked at the house before, and they had served search warrants there. But then they come back this morning, and we don't know what it was that led to the arrest. But what might they be looking for?
It's a good question. We know that they seized their electronics, and they may have even had wiretaps on other family members. Maybe they found something there. But the attorney said something interesting the other day. Although he wasn't correct about them digging holes in the backyard, he did mention something about them digging some sort of holes inside the house. And they do seem to be in this one bedroom. And, we don't know how long of a head start they had on this. This child, nobody seems to be able to say when the last time this child was seen. Could the child be under cement inside? Who knows?
Yeah, I know. And you wonder too, because this was this case where the story was very sketchy, but then to see like murder today, and they don't know where Emmanuel is, but in your experience, to have someone accused of murder, you don't have a body, what type of evidence would you would need something? that would make it believe that this
Yeah.
isn't, he's not with someone else, that unfortunately this 7-month-old boy is dead.
Yeah, and you could definitely prove murder circumstantially. However, it's a really high burden, and for them to come out, there was other charges they could have started with if they just wanted to and get them in custody. He's already on probation. It'd be easy to violate him on a child neglect charge, and same with her and lying to authorities, because some of their stories just didn't match up with what we saw in surveillance. However, they went, the DA, who's the one who files these charges, felt that they had enough to go for, murder on both of them. And, or not, it is murder. So they have something, whether it's communications, whether somebody rolled over on them, we don't know yet, another family member or something. They're confident. Sadly, they're confident that he is deceased, and it is at the hands of both of them.
Yeah, and I think the both of them, part of it is interesting because Jake has the one with the attorney. Rebecca does not have an attorney, to our understanding, but to charge both of them, and Rebecca's the one who made the claim in the first place. Where
so they are both charged with murder, not with, she's not charged with accessory to murder or that kind of thing, or so I think they might have done that to frighten her, but we'll see what happens when they've got her in. She's being interrogated. She needs to say what she knows now, because if she didn't actually kill Emmanuel herself, this is her opportunity. This is Rebecca's opportunity to tell the truth. Where is the baby's body? Drop that twat in it. Don't stick up for him anymore, Rebecca. What you doing? This man, he's been arrested now for murder. He's not getting out. He's not coming after you. Tell the truth. Do the right thing. I hope she does. Now, she may be doing the right thing as we speak, so let's hope so.
Almost think if you have an attorney that he'd be able to say, hey, this was Rebecca's, she did this. We didn't do anything about it. You would have to think that there's something that links them beyond being married.
Yeah, so if it happened, let's say there was mutual combat between them, and then the child got in the middle, or even if it was at the hands of one of them, but the other was there and didn't report it, it's still, it's still homicide. It's still considered murder. So, especially if investigators think this has been a very long time, and then they concoct this story, and it's a fairly sizable family too. There's a lot. If you pull their backgrounds, there's a lot of family members that actually use this address. I have a lot. There should be a lot of questions for those family members too, because this is like another Harmony Montgomery type situation. Why does nobody seem to know where the child's been? And nobody can account, and including the grandmother who came out and was defending. When did she last see this child? And I think those are questions that I hope are answered.
And you wonder too, the other children who were in the home. I know a 2-year-old was taken out of the house, but what have they seen? And what can they tell? What have they told investigators? I can see where you are, and it's very vast. Just desert behind you. What is the scene like there around this home? I mean, we've seen it from the drone video that you've shot.
So they're at the end of a street. Cabazon only has about 2,000 residents. The only thing that's really here is the Casino Morongo, which is I don't know if you can see the tall building there, which they're directly across the 10 from. They're on a street where they have basically one neighbor on their side, and then they have one across the street, and then the one that burnt down. That's one down across the street, and then a sheriff's station. So, but it's very
a funny old scenario, isn't it? Not many houses, and then one of those houses burnt down. And it may be that it's connected, and it may be because of that, if they apprehended the people that burnt it down, maybe it's them that have come up and told the police something that has led to these arrests. We just don't know, do we? We don't know. Or the police had originally said it was a coincidence, but of course, maybe they're just saying that because they didn't want Jake to suspect that he'd been caught out, But then those people that set that house on fire, or that RV or whatever it was on fire, they were on CCTV. Now Jake lives in that area. He would know that there was CCTV, wouldn't he? He would know that. He'd know where it is and where it isn't. And it's said that Rebecca turned up at that shopping mall to find out where there was CCTV. Again, a lot of the things, of course, that are being reported are, what people are saying maybe on social media, but we have to wait for the police to actually announce official things, really, because sometimes things do get embroidered a little bit with the best will in the world. Not always. I'm not always saying things get embroidered by social media or even mainstream media for bad reasons, but it does happen that sometimes information comes out it's not true. We have to wait for what the police say about it.
There's nothing out here, and this is simply it's really, before the casino was built, it was a truck stop, and it's just a truck stop area, and it's about 20 miles to get into like Utah, and then about 25 more miles into Palm Springs. So we're in the middle of nowhere. So as far as not being going undetected, I mean, this is, who knows, if you wanted to get rid of somebody, there's a ton of area to do it. Not to mention, a lot of this is Indian reservation. So then you have access problems, for searching and whatnot. So hopefully they left some sort of, digital, even, there's an amazing ability through programs like Cellbrite that are available to law enforcement, that they can recover deleted messages and files on phones and stuff like that. And I imagine that probably came into play here as well.
There's part of this story too, Steve, where now we have the murder arrest, the murder investigation. But the biggest question is, where is Emmanuel Haro? And I know we've been talking about where this story first started in some ways Thursday night with the mom at Rebecca at the sporting goods store. But from what you've gathered, how do you figure out when the last time someone saw this child? Because we don't know.
Yeah, so I think you got to go back to events that you can place her at without the child. So I know I saw her at the funeral service for, I believe it's his brother, one of their brothers. That was on August 5th, I believe. She's clearly in that video. The child doesn't appear to be. So I would ask, okay, who was taking care of the child? And if she can say, hey, it was this babysitter or whatever, and you interview that person and they did indeed, then you can say, okay, the child was alive then. But if she doesn't have a story for that, then you got to keep going backwards to when, I have a feeling, it's just a gut feeling, this child probably hasn't been seen in a couple months. This child's probably been gone a while, and it probably just got to the point where they're like, we have to put this story in motion. Even though it was not a very well thought out one, they might have thought it was. But, one thing I think is that just I can't get away from, and I just keep thinking about over and over in this case, is this didn't have to happen.
Yeah, I agree with Steve with everything. That they think they thought it out well, but they didn't. They didn't. They're thickos, but you know why? Because Jake got away with so much before. When somebody gets away with what Jake got away with, scot-free, didn't he, really, practically, over strangling his other baby. You get emboldened. These people get emboldened to do more. They think the police won't take any notice or won't investigate closely enough, or he's probably come up with this brilliant idea that she's got this black eye and she can use that and pretend she's been attacked. He's probably smoking marijuana and his head's completely or drinking or whatever, and he can't think straight anyway. I personally don't agree with you, David, about but I could be wrong. I don't believe that's where that baby is. I think they're going to find this baby in the house somewhere or around about there. I don't think he will have taken it anywhere. That's not where this CCTV is, especially, do you know, like, and them just there, like, easily identifiable, unless they're just even thicker than we think they are. I think they're thick, but are they that thick that he knew they would? He would know what CCTV is in the area where he lives, and so they will have been so easy to catch. Surely he's not that thick, but you know what? He could be, and it could be. You could be completely right, but we'll see.
He was convicted of.
Look at him, and you know this makes me go cold. The way he's cuddling that girl there. How many times has she been attacked by him? Because I don't believe for a minute he hasn't attacked all his children. Just some have been luckier than others. This little girl, she's probably been attacked by him. He will have attacked all of them, unless she's like one of these, you know, good baby who never cried or whatever. Definitely attacked. I tell you what, I heard. Now listen, there's not many. Maybe, you know, smacking children is wrong. I suppose most, you know, I'll hold my hands up. I have smacked my son when he was little. Not a baby, obviously, but you know, like occasionally. I can't say that I haven't ever smacked him on the legs or whatever. But the thought of a baby and actually, you know, strangling them that he did to his other. She was only a few weeks old, that little one, when he did it to her. I just can't get my head around it at all. How anyone could do it. Now, sometimes people do lose their temper or whatever. It's funny, one of my neighbours, they've got two children who are, you know, older now, but when the little girl was the first one, she was as good as gold. You would never know they had a baby, you know, like never heard her cry. I didn't. I mean, I'm sure she did cry. But you never heard her. You would never have known there was a baby in that house. Then later on, they had a little boy. Oh, my God, you knew he was there. He was just one of those babies that cried a lot. And, you know, I think when he was a toddler and that, he was just naughty. Some children are more naughty than others. Normally boys, to be honest. But, I mean, these were babies that Jake has abused. They've not even got as far as the toddler stage. So the only thing they could have been doing wrong is crying. That's the only thing that baby can do wrong, isn't it? He's crying. Babies normally cry for a reason, because they're hungry or they're too tired or they, you know, well, that's it really, or their nappy needs changing. There's only three things that a baby's going to cry about. Being hungry, being thirsty, I suppose, maybe being ill if they're teething or whatever, or having a dirty nappy. You know, they're not really naughty, are they? Not capable of being naughty. Not when they're babies. Now, when they become toddlers, they are capable of being naughty. And the reason I'm just that one day when I was in class downstairs, my next door neighbour was whacking his son. Whacking him. You could hear it, you know, through the walls. He must have been down in their garage or whatever. And it was whack, whack. And this little boy, he was only about 2 or 3. It was very distressing and we didn't really know what to do. There was about 6 of us. There was me and about 5 students. And I think the father, he had just completely lost control. But I've heard him hitting people, you know, hit his wife once as well. You know, and it's very difficult because you think, well, should I be phoning the police? I mean, what, you know, but there was really loud whacks. Anyway, I've never heard it since. It was just that one occasion. I think he just lost it. People do lose it. But it's difficult with a baby, don't you think? A baby, how do you lose it with a baby? Because, as I say, if they cry, then they're probably hungry. So you give them a bottle, that will make them quiet. Or they need their nappy changing, so you do that. I mean, or they're ill, so you get them to the doctor. I mean, babies aren't naughty, are they? So anyway, seeing him holding this girl, you just think, what has she suffered from him? Because I can't believe that he's abused two children. One is killed. One is abused so badly that she needs care for the rest of her life. Can't believe he hasn't done anything to this one. That's what he does, and he's got 6 children.
These child cruelty charges, and he was given 180 days. Now, this is a child that's left with 3% brain function, from what we're told, is blind, has no ability to take care of themselves now. Thank God there was another family member that lovingly took that child in, and he got 180 days sentence for that, which he was given a day in county jail and 179 days of work release, where he got to go home at night for essentially, quality of life away from he took everything from this child except for actual life. And that's what the DA for Side County agreed, and that's what the judge would do, and that is just wrong. And this is partially on them, as far as I'm concerned about. And he was given a 6-year sentence that was all suspended to 180 days, and 79 of that 180 days of work release. He did 1 day. He did less than somebody that got a DUI would do. And this is permanently brain damaged. And I hope that the DA and the judges understand what's happened here, and we got to be held accountable. You cannot do that dean and get 1 day of jail.
Yeah, I mean, it was
not right.
And the child in that case was 10 weeks old. It was from a previous, I think, marriage or relationship with his ex-wife, 2018. This baby goes, and I know you saw the reports. I mean, you read through it, and it's been reported that this child, she's now 7, but her quality of life is so difficult because of Jake Haro. And that's not an alleged thing. It is, he was convicted of it and got off very lightly. And now we're in a situation where he's accused of murder for a boy that we have no idea where he is. Recapping some of the stuff we've talked about this week, Steve, because for people who are just joining us, the Big 5 store and where Rebecca said all of this happened. No one, and from people you've talked to, no one saw the baby with her when she says he was taken and she was, hit in the face, where suddenly she has this very small black eye for apparently being knocked out and hitting the ground.
I think what they were trying to do is an event, which was the football practice. And I think that was to create some distance from the house. In other words, oh gosh, Emmanuel's gone missing, but in Ukaipa, it just, listen, in this day and age, there's scammers everywhere, and it doesn't matter if there wasn't on that store, there was other ones. And also,
I think that's interesting what you said, because they said he'd been kidnapped quite away from the house in Ukaipa. So like he said, they're trying to create distance from the house, so that tells you that he's probably in the house or not far from the house. They'll find him. They'll find this baby. She might crack. I hope she does crack. He might crack, because he might try and make her responsible. So what you'll have now is they'll be being interviewed separately, and he may end up trying to blame Rebecca even, or she will end up blaming him. They'll be interviewing them separately. One of them will crack. This baby will be found one way or another, I think.
Investigators have a lot of tools available to them now, especially, digital age. And you're just not going to get away with, something like that. And who knows if the child will ever be found? Look, Harvey Montgomery's still never been found, even though the father's been convicted of murder, And so I hate that thought, but he was.
That is a horrible thought, because Harmony Montgomery, I've not covered that case. So I don't really want to cover it. It's a similar case in the fact a little girl who went missing, she's never been found, but the father has been. charged with murder and he's been given a life sentence, but he still won't say where she is. And the reason probably for that is he was carrying around in a bag, in a cool box, in a rucksack. They think she's probably just ended up in the trash. She wasn't a baby, but she was only, little girl. And she's probably decomposed and ended up in the trash somewhere. But he's never said what he did with her, but he has been found guilty of murder, so that's the positive side of it. But poor little Harmony Montgomery has never been laid to rest properly. She'll be lying in some trash somewhere. They're disgusting, these people, aren't they? He's another disgusting piece of shit. Harmony Montgomery's father just killed her because he was annoyed with her at McDonald's. Something, I don't know if she had an accident, wet herself, because she had a history of wetting herself because she was fucking terrified of her father. And he lost it and battered her to death. How do you do that? How do you batter a little girl when you're a big man? He's another big man. Anyway, so what Steve's saying there, and it's true, is that even if they don't, I hope they do find Emmanuel. But if they don't find him, it doesn't mean say he can't be charged with murder.
That's just not fair.
Yeah, what does, because I know the Montgomery case you worked, and people know that case very well. In this one, what does the search look like now? Knowing that this is a murder investigation, and even though you don't have a body, there's something that law enforcement found where they do not believe this child is alive anymore. What are the type of resources that are going to be used? And what's really the timeline of how long those resources will be used to find someone?
I think that there's a smaller crew than you might expect to at that house right now. The scientific team is there in their truck, and they seem to be focused in a certain part of the house. I think that they have reason to believe that there's at least evidence there that an event occurred there. If he may have been moved, they'll probably have significant bio evidence. They'll be able to say, okay, we got bio evidence here, so it was moved, the body was moved. Very well may be the reason we got the murder warrant is they may have luminol that vehicle and found out that there was a body in that car. They might have got luminol, they might have run a cadaver dog in there and gotten a hit. But they're focused on the house, and so as far as what the search looks like going forward, I think that they'll have a lot to go off of.
Right, I'll just stop sharing that now because it is buffering a little bit. That is not my fault, that is their fault. It is buffering a little bit. Because I'm going to finish off now anyway. I'm sure there's more to come out on this case. But I want to say a couple of little prayers, because I want to say a couple of little prayers for Emmanuel. And I had a look online and I've found a couple, it doesn't matter what your religion is. I've got a Christian prayer, a Muslim prayer, and a non-denominational prayer. Just short prayers that I'm going to say. So the Christian prayer option is this. So if you want to join me in prayers, I hope you will. Praying's not everybody's cup of tea, I know. But it's just really for this baby. So God of love and life, you gave Emmanuel to the world. Give us now the assurance that though he has passed from this world, he has not passed from your care. Draw near to us in our sadness, bringing blessing out of grief, and help us in our tears and pain to know you are standing alongside us and to experience your love and healing through Jesus Christ, our Lord. So that's if you believe, if you're a Christian. Then there was what I thought was a lovely Muslim prayer. Allah, make Emmanuel for us a precursor, a forerunner, and a treasure for his ancestors. Make him, make him weigh heavily in their scales of good and magnify their reward and make him join the righteous of the believers. So that's a Muslim prayer. It's interesting to hear that they sort of all means the same thing in a way, but prayer in a different word, in a different way. And then a God, I can't even say that word, denominational prayer. So we come together in sorrow, but also with immense love for Emmanuel. We thank you for the life you gave him, for the laughter, the joy. I hope he had some laughter and joy. I don't think he had much, to be fair. We pray that any pain or struggle is now over and that Emmanuel is at peace, free from all that held them here on earth. May their spirit rest in a place of comfort and light. We release them now to the earth, trusting that they are becoming part of something greater, a part of the world's enduring love and beauty. Thank you for being with us briefly, Emmanuel, and thank you for being you. We will hold your memory in our hearts forever. Now, as I was saying the other day, it's quite ironic, really, isn't it? With a lot of these cases, you feel that the community, the true crime community or the world or whatever, care more about these children than their own parents who have ended up resulting in his death. It's terrible, isn't it? But do you know what? That's their karma, if you like, that they've got to live with. They're going to have to face that either in this world or the next. All we can do is pray for this little one that God is out of suffering. They didn't have much luck here, the family that he was born into. Just hope that wherever he is now, he's being treated better, in the arms of Jesus or whatever you believe. I don't know, because I don't know all the answers, but one thing I do know, I do believe that these people, they will suffer, and hopefully soon suffer in this world and the next for what they've done to this little baby that just was innocent and didn't believe it, you know. Okay, so that's it. So just hope we get news soon. I hope he's found, because I hope he is laid. It doesn't matter in a way, because, you know, he'll go on to the next world. But he needs to be buried with dignity, bless him. And for the rest of the family, because maybe some of his family do care about him. Maybe his grandma did care about him. I bloody hope so. You know, his grandma, granddad, other relatives. You know, obviously his dad, that piece of shit, he did care about him. And, you know, for me, the jury's out a bit on Rebecca. I hope she'll do the right thing now. Maybe she didn't do the right thing before because she's terrified of this piece of shit. But do you know what? If she doesn't do the right thing now, she's just the same piece of shit, isn't she? Okay, I'm going. So thank you for watching. Thank you for caring about Emmanuel. At the end of the day, at least we cared about him. We cared about him. We'll say prayers for him. I think about him all the time until he's found and laid to rest, just given some dignity. But at least we cared about him, bless him. Only we could have known at the time. But the authorities that allowed that piece of shit out after him doing a similar thing to another of his children, they have to take responsibility for this as well. Whoever the judge was that allowed this man only gave him a couple of months prison sentence. He never hardly served any of it. You know, they bear responsibility as well. This was not this man's first rodeo. He could have been stopped. This should never have happened. He should have been castrated, either physically or chemically. He should not be allowed to have children. But anyway, he was. And not only was he allowed to have them, but he was allowed to be around them. You saw him there doing his appeals, holding another child, a 2-year-old child in his arms. Disgusting. Anyway, I'll see you really soon in the next video. Thank you for caring about Emmanuel. And until I see you again, may your God go with you. Bye. Oh, I haven't pressed the end.